Welcome to Catekids Reading Room. So we are finally back with another episode, and this is episode number 10. Can you believe we've done 10 of these? And we took a little break, so life got back to somewhat normal, and then kind of not normal. And we've always intended to keep doing more of these, but the actors of Catekids Reading Room went on a big strike. They were making serious and outlandish demands, right, guys?
Uh-huh.
You guys went on strike? What were some of the demands you were making when you were on strike?
Robin.
You wanted toys, lots of toys. What kind of other things do we have to work out in the contract? So you
Legos.
were doing
I wanted Legos. Lots of Legos so that nobody else would have them.
Okay.
I wanted lots of books that nobody else.
You wanted lots of
would have
books?
them.
Okay. Well, we're back with episode number 10 of Catekids Reading Room, and we have 4 more things for you. We have a story to hear, and what story are we going to hear today, guys?
Arlo and the Great Big Cover-Up.
So we have a wonderful new book from Crossway Books called Arlo and the Great Big Cover-Up for you that we're excited about. And then we have a truth to learn, and with this book, we're going to learn the answer to the catechism question, what is sin? Then we have a verse to memorize. We're going to memorize together 1 John 1:9, and then we're going to learn a verse from the song Psalm 51, which is...
First, we're going to do the book.
First, we're going to do the book. All right, so let's read, guys, Arlo and the Great Big Cover-Up. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You ready, Louis? All right.
Arlo and the Great Big Cover-Up by Betsy Childs Howard. Illustrated by Samara Hardy. Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. Proverbs 28, verse 13. It happened during quiet rest time. Arlo noticed a scratch on the wall just over his bed. The scratch looked like a mouth. Arlo was not allowed to get off his bed during quiet rest time. But if he kept one foot on his bed and stretched his other leg out, he could reach the markers on his desk. Then Arlo did a very naughty thing. He took the cap off the blue marker. He drew a nose and 2 eyes on the wall. Arlo felt funny. He was not allowed to draw on the walls, not with a pencil, not with a crayon, and above all, not with a marker. Arlo sat on the bed and thought. He took the cap off the brown marker and drew a frame around the face. He thought the frame might make the face look like it belonged on the wall. But Arlo's square was not quite square, and he knew his mom would not be fooled. Arlo thought some more. He grabbed some tissues from the bedside table and started scrubbing. It was no use. The marker did not come off the wall, but it did smear together. Arlo had made a big blue and brown mess. Arlo felt afraid. His mom was not going to be happy with him. He must find a way to cover up the mess on the wall before the end of quiet rest time. He got off the bed. This time he didn't bother to keep one foot on. He dumped out his toy box, picked it up, and put it on the bed. It was no good. He could still see the mess on the wall. He piled up games on top of the box. The eyes on the wall kept looking at him. His heart was beating fast. He grabbed books and toys and piled them higher. Arlo had done it. The drawing could not be seen behind the towering pile of toys. Just then, he heard his mom coming up the stairs. He scrambled under the bed. "Arlo," his mom said, "where are you?" Arlo kept quiet. His mom sat down on the bed. All at once, the tower came tumbling down. "Arlo," she said, "come out here." Arlo crawled out from under the bed, but he covered his eyes. His mom picked him up and put him in her lap. "Arlo," she said, "did you color on the wall with a marker?" Arlo kept his hands over his eyes and shook his head. His mom pulled his hands away and looked him in the eyes. "Arlo," she said again, "did you color on the wall with a marker?" He looked back at her, and this time he told the truth. "Yes," he said in a voice that could barely be heard. "Did you cover it up?" Arlo took a deep breath. "Yes," he said, a little louder this time. "Arlo," she said, "you disobeyed when you colored on the wall. You also disobeyed when you got off your bed to get your toys." Arlo threw his arms around his mother. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I disobeyed." Arlo's mother gave him a tight squeeze. "I forgive you, Arlo." "Am I going to get a punishment?" he asked without letting go. "Yes, you've lost your screen time for today and tomorrow." Arlo felt a little sad. He liked to watch a video while he ate his afternoon snack. But he couldn't feel too sad while his mom was hugging him. Then Arlo had a thought. He sat up and with a worried voice asked, "Will I always have this mess over my bed?" Arlo's mom smiled. "I thought I would get my super sponge out from under the sink and clean it off. Would you like that?" "Oh, yes," Arlo said. As they walked downstairs to get the sponge, Arlo's mom said, "You know, sometimes when I do something wrong, I want to hide." Surprised, Arlo asked, "You do? Who do you hide from?" "When I sin, I want to hide it from God. I don't want him to know about it, and I don't want to talk to him because he might find out." "That's silly," Arlo said. "God knows everything already." "I know," said his mom. "We can't hide our sins from God, and when we try, it only makes us unhappy." Arlo thought for a minute. "I was unhappy when I was hiding from you under the bed." "I know," said his mom, "and I knew that you would never be able to get the mess off the wall without my help. I'm glad you came out and told the truth. When we tell God the truth about our sin, He is ready and waiting to help us. That's why He sent His Son Jesus." Arlo looked at the clean wall. He threw his arms around his mom again. "Thank you for washing off my mess," he said. Cleaned up is much, much better than covered up. The end.
All right, so we just heard our story. What was the story called, Lewis?
Arlo and the Great Big Cover-Up.
Is your name Lewis?
No.
Lewis, what was the story called? Can you sit up?
Arlo and the Great Big Cover-Up.
So Lewis, why did Arlo hide from his mom?
Because he didn't want to be fooled.
He didn't want to be fooled, or he didn't want to get caught?
He didn't want to be caught.
And Lucy, how did Arlo feel while he was trying to cover up his disobedience? Why did he think he felt funny?
Because his mom was not going to be happy.
Yes. And who else in the Bible tried to hide from God when they had sinned?
Noah?
Noah? Did Noah?
Yes, he ran away. Remember?
You mean Jonah?
Yeah.
Jonah. And who else tried to hide from God when they sinned? Remember in the beginning, in the garden?
Adam and Eve!
Yeah, what did they try to do?
They were naked.
Yeah. And they tried to hide. Yeah. So whenever we sin, we want to hide from God. But is that a good response?
No.
No. Why is that silly to try and hide from God?
Because God can find us.
Yep. Why is it silly to hide from God, Lewis?
Because God
Can you hide from Him?
us. No, He can see through everything.
Yes, exactly. So what should we do instead when we sin? What should we do when we sin, Lewis?
Forgive God. Forgive.
No,
Forgive.
ask him.
Ask him for forgiveness.
Yeah, listen to this. So here's our memory verse. Memory verse is 1 John 1:9. Can you guys repeat after me? Can you sit up and repeat after me?
Yep.
If we confess our sins,
If we confess our sins,
He is faithful and just
He is faithful and just
to forgive us our sins
to forgive us our sins
and to cleanse us
and to cleanse us
from all unrighteousness.
from all unrighteousness.
So what does it mean to be cleansed? When do you guys get cleansed?
I don't know what that means.
To be cleansed? To be clean? When do you guys get clean?
And when we take a shower.
Yes, so all that dirt, sin is like that dirt that's on you.
Mm.
And what happens when you take a shower?
It comes off.
So Lewis, when confess our sins to God, what does He do with our sin? Look at the microphone.
He cleans them.
He cleans them. And He washes all our sins away. So if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us. Can you do the motion, Lewis? He cleanses us from all unrighteousness.
I did that. I did this.
Oh, nice. All right, so now we're going to sing a song about this memory verse so we can memorize it.
If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us. If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. From all unrighteousness.
All right, now that we worked on our memory verse for 1 John 1:9, we have a truth to learn. And the truth to learn, which is based on the book we're reading, is what is sin? Lewis, what is sin? What is sin?
Sin is separating God.
Sin is separation from God. Lucy, what do you think sin is? What is sin?
Like if Mom told me to clean my room and I didn't clean my room.
Yeah. Well, here's the catechism answer. Can you guys repeat after me?
Yeah.
So the question is, what is sin? Sin is disobedience
Sin is disobedience
against God's perfect law
against God's perfect law
by failing to do what God commands
by failing to do what God commands
or doing what God forbids.
or doing what God forbids.
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 So there's two ways we can sin against God.
Dad, I gotta see.
If God tells us to do something, like Mommy says to clean your room, and we don't do it, is that sin?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what if there's a sign on the fridge that says no kids should take Daddy's Bluebell ice cream, and you take Daddy's Bluebell ice cream? Is that a sin?
Yes.
I forbade you from taking my Bluebell ice cream, and then you took it.
Yeah, but
So is that a pretty serious sin in this house?
that's not just your little ice
Oh,
cream.
you think so?
It's everybody.
Really?
Sorry.
All right. So we're going to work on a song that'll help us memorize this catechism question.
What is sin? Sin is disobedience against God's perfect law by failing to do what God commands. What is sin? Sin is disobedience against God's perfect law by failing to do what God commands or doing what God forbids.
All right, well, now that we've worked on that catechism question, we have a song to sing, and we're going to sing the first verse of Psalm 51. So this is a psalm written to help us understand what it means to come to God in confession. Well, we're glad to be back and that we've been able to enjoy another Catekids reading room with you. We hope that you guys continue to use these tools to learn God's truth, to memorize His Word, to sing His truths as well. And that's all for this Catekids reading room. So can you guys say, how should we say goodbye?
Goodbye, Catekids. Goodbye, Catekids reading room.
Goodbye, Catekids reading room. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Catekids reading room.